So I was thinking that I would like to do a video about having a quarter life crisis because this is something I have gone through recently myself. I am now 27, and I know that it was a very confusing and difficult time for me. And I also have had friends who are in the same age who have gone through the same thing, and we are now coming out of it. But I just wanted to make a video just to help other people and just give some kind of practical steps into getting past it because it's so difficult. And if you're there, if you're kind of having a quarter life crisis freak out, I empathize with you. I know it's really, really hard. It is really very difficult. It's a very confusing, overwhelming, mind boggling, upsetting time. Okay? But there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you are willing to work on yourself, okay, um, you will get past this. I can promise you. Okay? So, some practical steps. Okay, well, actually, maybe the first thing I could say is, well, why does like a quarter life crisis happen anyway? Well, I think it's for a combination of factors. Just coming out through their side now, and I think if you're gonna resolve this. It'll be great. It'll really help you in the future, in like the longer picture, the longer view of your life. But you have to have compassion for yourself and realize that if you're in this situation, it's not exactly your fault. That there's many factors that would lead somebody to have this kind of crisis moment, and crises are excellent periods for reflection and to just think about you. And they're kind of positive if you decide to make them positive. Okay, so out of all of the kind of muck and mire, you can grow something beautiful. Okay. um so, why do I think they happen? I think that there's a few reasons why, someone would end up kind of having this period of confusion in their life. And I suppose the biggest one is not really knowing who you are, or, understanding what your talents are in this world. And also kind of not believing in yourself for whatever reason. I think that's the biggest thing. I would say, so if you can start to figure that out, it's going to be, the road to you getting over this. Um, so I think that's the biggest reason people don't know who they are, and they don't know what they're here to do. So it's all kind of to tie it in with your life purpose. Okay. Um, so how do you start to kind of resolve it? Because obviously right now it's really confusing. You have no idea where to begin. I'm sure you probably feel really overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to do something that I love? Or like, I'm working in a shitty job. Is this going to be the rest of my life? Or like, I can't possibly go back to university because I've already done that and I screwed it up once. What if I make the wrong decision again? So there's all these fears, basically. So the thing is, there's a few different ways to deal with the quarter life crisis, and one is by doing a lot of internal reflection, and another is by doing external action. So you need to do both to get over this. And in terms of internal reflection, you need to really think about who you are. What is it that you love doing? Um, like what makes you feel alive? What makes you kind of feel like passionate? What makes you feel um what makes you happy? Is it being around people? Is it being around animals? Is it being in nature? Like, is it working with your hands, doing something like woodwork? You have to start thinking about who you are. And then you have to start becoming okay with that, because sometimes we grow up with messages that who we are is not okay or it's not good enough. And that's really the essence of like the internal stuff, is realizing who you are and doing that reflective work on yourself, and realizing that the skills and abilities and specific talents that you have are really valuable in the world. That you are unique, and basically no one else can do exactly what you can do, and you are here for a purpose. And even if you don't know that yet, that's okay. But I'm going to start to learn a little bit more about me. Okay, and that's basically the mindset that will really help you. So who am I? That's the kind of question to look at. Now, I think in terms of doing reflective work, what I would suggest doing is reading and doing reflection that way, reading and writing. will really, really, really help you, because it'll help with the kind of the mad confusion and anxiety that you probably feel right now. So there's some books I would suggest reading. I read bits and pieces of them myself. One is I Would Do Anything If Only I Knew What It Was. The title is pretty self-explanatory. I Would Do Anything If Only I Knew What It Was. It's a very lovely, light-hearted book, and it'll show you lots of people who are all different phases in their life, kind of dealing with this internal struggle. And you know, in some ways, I think people who have a quarter life crisis are actually really lucky, because they get to reflect on this stuff young. Because I know that if you probably nosedive into like a career that you think is going to be your saving grace and you're not like entirely happy, I think you're still going to have a crisis. I just think you're going to delay it until you're 35 or 36 or 37, and God knows you could be married and have kids and have people dependent on you then, which is like way harder to break away from. So that's not cool. So deal with it now, you know, kind of thing. So I think that's what I like about that book, is it really helps you see lots of different scenarios about why you could be confused about who you are and what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And you see people at all different ages of life struggling with that, you know, and how they overcame it. And it's, I can't remember the name of the author, but it's an amazing book, so that's really good. Another one is What Color Is Your Parachute? Like, if you search career advice, that book is going to come up over and over and over again. And, you know, again, a lot of the work involved is to understand how the job market works, but also, you know, like, it's, again, you know, he says it in the book, most of the work that you're doing is learning about who you are. So those two books have really helped me. Okay, so that's the internal stuff, reflecting, doing the exercises that are in those kind of books. You know, another thing that you could do as well is talk to somebody. I spoke to somebody called John P. Morgan, who's really, really amazing to talk to. He's just like, he says stuff and you're just like blown away for like a week or something. You're like, whoa. So getting to talk to someone who's gone through similar things, or is just smarter at that stuff, or is kind of doing like something that you want to do. So investigatory work, conversations with people, being open about the confusion. There's nothing wrong with being confused or making mistakes. You're learning, you're constantly learning. As Susan Jeffers says in her book, Feel the Fear Into It Anyway, you can never make a wrong decision, because any decision you make, even if it seems to be the wrong one down the line, at least you have learned so much from it, so it's never the wrong decision, okay? So, like, have compassion for yourself. If you're in this crazy mess, it's for a reason. And there are ways around it. So that's the internal stuff, doing some reflective work. And then obviously, like, a natural follow-on would be trying new things. Like, you know, just, you know, maybe there's like 5 things that you think that you could be interested in. Just try them all in different ways, forms and shapes, as much as possible. Because again, like, you know, maybe you're reluctant to do a master's because you're like, well, I could do a master's in something, and it could be the wrong thing, and why would I know, and blah 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 blah. Or yeah, I could travel to this place and do this thing, but like, oh my god, is it the right thing to do? But just try it, and like, you know, if you make a mistake, that's fine. You can just come back to square one. It's fine. You haven't really like lost anything. You're always going to gain new information about yourself. As Oprah says, I love Oprah. Um, you have to know what sparks the light within you, so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. So think about that for a while. It's beautiful. You have to know what sparks the light within you, so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. So this kind of stuff that you're doing, this crisis you're going through, there is an end in sight, but you know, there are things that you can do to speed it up. And you know, once you know who you are and how valuable you are in the world, and that you have specific talents and abilities that you're meant to share with everybody, and yeah, maybe you'll find out what those are, or you'll know yourself better. And you know, just don't be afraid to ask for help, because you're meant to flourish in this world, and you're meant to be you, you know? So just be confident in that, and keep searching for internal answers, and you'll get external results. Okay, so I hope that helps in some way, shape, or form. I know it's a really, really tough time to go through, but you're not alone, and there's plenty of resources out there. There really, really are. And you know, as I said, you don't really want to get like a midlife crisis. That would just be horrible. You don't really want that. So another person I think I found was Christine Hassler. So she's got a nice website, Christine Hassler. Yeah, so I hope that helps. Best of luck, and drop me a comment if you think this was helpful, or if it was, if there's anything that you'd like to add that you've discovered. It's all a journey, and it's a journey of self discovery, and I think the time that you would invest in yourself is going to always pay dividends, okay? So you deserve to be happy, and you're awesome, and you deserve to do something that you love and are passionate about, and it's going to help you and everyone else around you, okay? So good luck with your work, and let me know how it goes down below if you want. I'd love to hear from people about their own crises. Okay, so take care. Bye now.